Whoa. That has got to be
the deepest line ever.
You ain't seen shit till you see this.
I'm Vin.
I'm Sori.
And this is Faith No More. The name of the song is Epic. This is brought to you by
Sin and
the
Glory.
Sin and Glory. Shout out to the big homie Chris Cope. You will probably have noticed, dear listener, the last few days that a lot of our picks have come from what we call alliance picks. What is an alliance? Dear listener, if you look at any other reaction channel, and you should like, share, comment, subscribe, especially Nuclear Reaction, shout out to Blake, you will see that most reaction channels cut up the songs every 20-30 seconds or so. When we got in the game, we had no idea what we were doing and why people did what they did on other channels. So we were just listening to the song from start to finish without any interruptions, because I wanted Sori to hear the songs that I was familiar with without any interruptions. So for the most part, if you look at our early stuff, we didn't do any interruptions. Well, we soon found out why other reaction channels don't do the interruptions, and that's because when you see the ads and all that, Google gets a cut and then you get a cut. Well, when you play the song all the way through without any breaks, it alerts the record label. The record label then gets Google to send you this nifty little message that says, hey, thanks for playing, but all the money that was going to go to you is going to go to the record label. So we tried to change that like midstream, but people were like, no,
forget about it.
Okay, fine. So then so we went back the other way, and somebody said, you could use Patreon and we'll offset those hits. So $1.
Shout out to the homie.
Shout out to the homie. $1 the gig gets you in a Patreon. No, it's not Sean. $1 the gig gets you in a Patreon. You join an alliance, and then there's different tiers. There's other stuff that you can do. We're in a band, so we're coming up with a song pretty soon, et cetera, et cetera. You get to first listen, and when the video premieres, you get to be at the watch party, all those types of things, right? So that's
Aaron,
what Patreon
what was his name?
I'll tell you later.
Okay. It's just a first name, babe.
It's Bill. Okay, so
It was not Bill.
Yeah, it was.
It really was?
Having said that, let's go. Epic, Faith No More. If you don't want to join an alliance, $125 gets you straight to the headline. You do that 3 times, you get bumped down to $75 rate. Having said that, Epic, Faith No More, let's go.
Here we go.
Anyway, you will never understand it cause it happens too fast. And it feels so good, it's like walking the glass. It's so good, so
What is
That is definitely 90s, bro. That is definitely 90s.
Lying on the floor, so you lay down on it and you do it some more. You got to share it, so you dare it, then you bear it, and you deserve it. You want it all, but you can't have it.
Why does it sound so familiar?
It's in your face, but you can't grab it. Afraid, a lie, a sin, it's magic, it's tragic, it's a loss, it's a win. It's dark, it's noise, it's a bitter pain. It's sad, it happened, and it's a shame. You want it all, but you can't have
familiar to me, bro. This is the second time this has happened in the last week.
Okay.
This is the, what was it? The
That's a no for me.
That was the Stone Temple Pilot song that we
What about
did
it?
with the one with the Rusted Shame. What's it called? Something on the Highway or something like that. Love Song on the Highway.
Interstate Love.
Interstate Love Song. Yeah. Apparently that was like a huge song, like dominated. Cause remember I was like, "Yo, that sounds so familiar, bro."
Yeah.
And then there was like one line that stuck in my head. And I forget. I was like, "Yo, I bet you anything this is another one of those songs where Ben Webb's gonna be like, you idiot,
Oh, really?
you dumb butt."
Yeah, I've never heard.
I mean, it's
anything about it.
1990, so like even.
Don't panic. I grew up in a strict household. There was no music.
Well,
People are like, how is it possible? That's how it's possible.
I feel like I've heard. I mean, 1990 was like even early for me. That was like before the grunge time or whatever, I think. But anyway, I'm gonna be in the comment section on this one like crazy because I gotta figure out where I've heard this song from before.
This is a hard no. I did not like this song.
What do you mean a hard no?
I didn't like it. I just did not like the song at all.
What?
It
What was it to not like
literally,
the song?
I don't think my reaction changed for the song through the entire thing. It was just like
I hope that this is some major classic song and that you get destroyed in the comment section. I mean, you won't because most of our constituency are male and
they still have
there's
opinions.
always a strange idea that maybe if they say something nice to you that, you know, I get hit by a bus or something to get a shot. I don't know. That's why I love Ben Webb. Because Ben Webb does this. Ben Webb knows he has no shot with you whatsoever, so he just goes the other way.
Oh my gosh.
You know what I mean? Shout out to the homie. Okay, so part of the problem lyrically is what is it? Because he says, what is it? It's it. What's it? It's it.
Oh, it was such an annoying song.
They're like putting it there and not like defining what the subject of the actual song is, and they just call it epic, which is of course.
What is your name? I am. You know, people will be like, "What's the name of God in the Old Testament?" And then he'll be like, "I am. I am.
Yeah, I was just saying, like the title of the title of the song doesn't really help as far as like trying to figure out what he actually means. Okay. It's just, you know what I'm saying?
It can be whatever you want. Literally, this is like, you remember how I was with Peace Sells?
It's it.
And everybody was very upset with me because I didn't like Peace Sells.
Yeah, you were completely wrong about Peace Sells.
Well,
Peace
this
Sells
one
is like one of the best songs we've
You were completely wrong to have an opinion for your own.
Yeah, you have a wrong opinion. Because I don't believe in like subjectivity when it comes to art. I don't think.
Okay, well.
I'm more in the Aquinas type understanding of. I think those things can be objectively measured, but you don't. So if a person goes, that's music. Like there's got to be some order.
You do such an annoying noise.
Well, exactly. You called it noise.
Yeah.
Right, because there's no telos. It's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
It's just, like.
Yeah, but some music sounds like that to me. Some music's like, wow.
Yeah, but then when you actually go to play it, you see that there is an actual.
Oh yeah, maybe
there's
separately.
Logic and there's rhythm and even in the worst black metal.
Separately, you could listen to this and be like, oh, I really like the guitar. But when you put it all together, it's like.
What? Listen.
It.
What is it?
I like cheeseburgers. I like salads. And I like cereal. But I'm not going to mix them all together.
You thought it was too mixed up?
No, I just didn't like it. And the guy's voice, especially when he did...
I loved what he was wearing. I hope this thing doesn't get blocked.
Okay, when he did... Hold on. This part...
That's my favorite part.
No, that's not it. When he was doing that part, I gotta find it over here. Right here. Okay, so what this part, the sound of his voice, I really liked,
nice.
but I hated simultaneously. It's like when your tooth is loose,
yeah,
and you're like wiggling it, and you're like, whoa, I hate this pain, but at the
like,
same time, you're like, yes, I like this.
It's like Billy Corgan.
It was like that.
Billy Corgan's an acquired taste. The dude from Smashing Pumpkins.
No, I couldn't figure it out, and that was freaking me out.
The dude from Smashing Pumpkins. Love you with a smile. Same
no,
thing.
I like his voice.
Well, that's because the lyrics are so deep. Cut you like you want me to. Cut that little child.
No, it's
like you don't look at Billy Corgan and be like, oh, that's an objectively beautiful singing voice.
I like it.
Could anybody else? Okay, let's go to American Idol, right? You put Ronnie James Dio in front of American Idol, he's gonna get massive points.
Okay.
You put Lindsay in American Idol, she's gonna get points. You put Billy Corgan in American Idol and have him do an a cappella version of Disarm. How do you think that's gonna go?
Well,
it's not gonna work.
I don't know. I can't even really. Who are you talking about?
The dude from Smashing Pumpkins.
Yeah, I know, but I'd have to hear it again. Like this guy. Whoops. Let me silence that for a second. Like this guy, this is another one of those where it's. I think that there's people that would hate it, but you know what? He's also popular, so not everybody would hate it. Let me just skip here. Right here it comes.
But you only need the light when it's burning low.
It's an odd voice, right? But I like it.
Only know you love her
But
that's okay, but Billy Corgan is not like a good singer.
Only know you've
But
been
I just think that the music is so beautiful.
Do you see what I'm saying?
No, not at all. I don't.
You don't understand what I'm saying?
No.
Don't you think there's lots of people that would be like, ew, what's that voice?
I think people would think it's strange, but I think everybody knows that this guy can still sing. He can still hit notes. He's just, higher than you'd expect. He sounds like a child.
Sounds like he's sucked helium.
But no, he sounds like a child singing, but the child could sing. Like if this was like in a little child's body, you'd be like, yo, that kid could sing. He's going to be a rock star one day.
Okay.
Billy Corgan, you're not
Can you just let me hear his voice again? Billy Corgan? Yes, I know. He's Smashing Pumpkins.
Disarm. Cut you like you want me to cut that little child.
Yeah.
Look how he sings. It's all nasally. It's all terrible. It's terrible. But you love it because the music is so beautiful and the lyrics are so freaking meaningful. That's all I'm saying. Like the people that do covers of that song, like 9 out of 10 of them are better vocalists than Billy Corgan. Like the people that do the covers of the song.
Yeah,
like when I was listening to The Shower, those were all covers. Those were not him. Mm-hmm. So all I'm saying is like, yeah, I get it. Like on the chorus, because this guy, it's clear. Like singing is not his thing. He was kind of like doing the rap metal thing. Okay, so there was a band. There was a very important band that was going to go on tour with these guys before COVID hit, and then COVID hit. So that was the end of that.
It stinks for them.
Yeah, it stinks for us because we were going to be able to hang out with them and stuff. But it is what it is.
You know what's funny? You know when we talk about like how we put out a song and if you play the song, obviously they take the revenue for it and it goes straight to the people that hold it. We don't get any of the revenue.
Yeah.
What happens if you play 2 songs or even 3 in the same one? Like this one, I played Passenger in here. So who's gonna get the revenue? Are they gonna have to duke it out? And maybe I'll start playing 6 different songs inside of a song.
We've done that on live streams where we had multiple copyright hits.
That's right.
Yeah.
So who gets the revenue? They split it up.
I guess they split it.
Pennies for you, pennies for me.
Yeah, that's how terrible these people are. Okay, can you feel it, see it here today? So there's a giant mystery as to what it is, and I think they did that on purpose so that you can fill in the blank. It could be money, it could be whatever. I had this discussion with the boys because Dorian, he's got his little shop open. You can check it out on the thing on
Look, the link is in the description. First link in the description of
So
this video.
he's got an Amazon store that's quickly, turning into something pretty good for him, and it's expanding literally by the day. And so we're having this conversation about, the whole famous quote from Rockefeller, how much is enough, and he says $1 more. And, there's always that, I never told you this, but this is going to, take stuff way into left field for you guys. Sorry, it is what it is. 666, right? The number of the beast. So G.K. Beale's understanding of that is that 6 is just short of perfection, because biblically 7 is a number of perfection. And then when you repeat something 3 times, it's the ultimate emphasis, right? So in Jeremiah, the temple of the Lord, the temple of the Lord, the temple of the Lord, or holy, holy, holy. So when you repeat something 3 times, it's meant to emphasize, it's the superlative emphasis, right?
Yeah.
And then 7 is a number of perfection. So 666...
And completion, right?
Right, in completion. So 666 means that the highest you can get as a human being is all outside of God, is always short of perfection, and you're always going to be searching for that next thing to get you to 7.
Oh,
Because you can
that's
only
cool.
you can only hit 6, right? And so of course Beale is an idealist. He's a non-millennialist, so he doesn't take the 666 as a literal you're gonna have a tattoo or a vaccine or whatever. But he takes it from an idealist sort of metaphorical understanding that the 6 is the imperfection of humanity and our collective emptiness in trying to approach 7 without God. You can only get to 7
That
by
is
God.
super cool, and I really like that
so
thought.
Then the repetition of the 6 3 times means that you are never going to get that fulfillment ever. And then you get to the point where you're you have everything and you're still missing it, right? So Beale would say the it there is the number 7. It says,
Yeah.
it's it. What is it? And it's never named throughout the song. So everybody is going to fill in the blank as to whatever their 7 is. So somebody's going to be money, some person going to be fame, some person going to be subscribers, some people's going to be sex, some people's going to be a car, some people's going to be a house, some people's going to be kids. Whatever it is, you're always going to be at 6. You're always going to be stuck at 6. And so that was I'd never heard that interpretation before.
That is really interesting.
I think it's probably true, but then it makes you feel sorry for the Antichrist. You're oh man, poor beastie. He's always going to be ever searching but never satisfied.
Oh well. I mean, I don't feel bad for him, because I just feel that's the story of all humanity. Everybody's in that situation, and then that just explains it.
Right.
Actually, I find it very helpful.
Right. So
And the 666, the repetitive nature of it is you got to 6. Oh, well, maybe the next one will be, oh, look, it's a 6 again.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe the next one. And the 6 is so promising because it's almost a 7.
Right. You're right there.
And each time you get another 6, if you're talking decimal points, you're closer to a 7, but you're never,
It's like gambling, right? It's oh, you missed it by 1. If you do it again, you play the slots again, you'll get it. Yeah, and I think he said, there's no indefinite article. So it says it's the number of a man. I think he was saying there's no a in the original Greek, so it's the number of man. So he's yeah, that's
this is
man.
sum total.
This is humanity outside of God. You're never going to get to 7. It's interesting because there's this line from Marilyn Manson that says he said something when you're young, it's hard to count to the number 7.
Oh, really?
He said, when you're a child, it's hard to count. Anyway, we're drifting off here. This probably has nothing to do with the song, but it's a very interesting line where it's what is it? Which is interesting because that's what manna means, right? And the manna fell from heaven, and the term manna meant what is it? Because the thing fell from, because the people were oh, we're hungry, blah, we're starving, yada yada yada. So God's oh, okay, that's cool, bro. I'm gonna send you down some bread from heaven. And they woke up the next day and they saw all the stuff on the ground. They were saying manna, manna, which means what is it? What is it? And then it just became called manna. What it? And then they were eating it, blah blah blah. I don't know if that's where all the fantasy people, because manna is a big thing in the fantasy world.
Yeah, I remember.
I don't know if that's where they got it.
From that
that's where they got it from.
Place.
But he was like, mana. They were like, mana, what is it? So, but what's interesting is that, again, they had a desire, a hunger. God gave them it. But then they still weren't satisfied with it. And they were saying, what is it? Like, these guys are literally in the song saying
That's
manna.
weird, yeah.
They're literally in the song saying manna. It's crazy. So, yeah, this is a case study where, like, it looks to me like it's about trying to get some level of whatever that's going to fulfill you, like, eternally and always missing it. If you can't, then it doesn't matter anyway. You will never understand it because it happens too fast and it feels so good, like walking on glass. It's so cool, it's so hip, it's alright, it's so groovy, it's out of sight. You can touch it, smell it, taste so sweet, but it makes no difference because it knocks you off your feet. So you're in some ecstasy, whatever, drugs, high, money, sex, cars, whatever. You want it all, but you can't have it. Which I admit the vocal style is kind of weird, but you know, it's crying, bleeding on the floor, so you lay down on it and do it some more. Okay, you've got to share it, so you dare it, then you bear it, and you tear it.
That's weird. It sounds. It's crying, bleeding on the floor, so you lay down on it and you do it some more. Kind of sounds rapish.
Well, yeah, you've got to share it so you dare. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it's rapish or if it's just how he feels. Maybe this is about jumping on some groupie. Who knows? But yeah, it doesn't sound very optimal. You want it all, but you can't have it. It's in your face, but you can't grab it. It's alive. Afraid, a lie, a sin. It's magic, it's tragic, it's a loss, it's a win, it's dark, it's moist.
See?
It's a bitter pain, it's sad it happened, and it's a shame.
Yeah, see, remember there was that one guy, I don't remember which one it was now, it slipped my mind, but he was saying like that it literally makes me sick whenever I think about it. But he was saying like the sex was just like they were having so much sex, like it lost its like fun.
Yeah.
And then they were like throwing like baloney or something at the girl or something like that. Like to me it was like really degrading, and I really hate even talking about it because it's very upsetting to me.
I think was it Marilyn Manson.
It might have been
Trent Reznor, the Nine Inch Nails guy.
Yeah, it might have been. But like
the guy made the song and said, "I want to like an animal."
Yeah.
Like what, you know, like what was Shorty expecting to happen at that tour bus? But yeah, I hear what you're saying. Yeah, I think, you know, we talked about this in the other one where we were talking about God, like, you know, saying we should manage our sexuality this way, and people look at it as restrictive, but in reality, it's a way to have the most possible, you know, pleasure sexually.
Well,
because then you devolve into doing some craziness like that. I was watching, I was reading something from Fight the New Drug because it's, you know, Martin Luther King Day today. And they were talking about the porn industry and how black people are treated. Apparently there's a hell of a lot of like racism in the porn industry. So like black people aren't getting paid as black women.
You mean like that?
Oh yeah, they don't get paid as much. And,
no way.
And then they have to. Yeah,
I thought you meant there was like.
I mean, obviously it's a
whole section of.
You know, Fight the New Drug is not a. They're not a neutral site. They're against pornography.
Yeah.
You know, and they're not a Christian organization, but. They were saying that this is really hypocritical because I guess some of these sites are like, "Hey, happy Martin Luther King Day," and they're like, "What are you talking about?" Like, so what were you thinking? What are you saying?
I just thought it was like genres within it. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if there. I'm sure that there's apparently there's like sections, and you can like pick the section you want to see. Yeah. And so I thought you were saying that there's a lot of like. Racist videos, which I'm sure there are.
Well, no, they said that too. They said that the autofill, if you type NIG, you do the autofill, it'll fill out the rest. GER, and there's like all slews of videos, and
that makes me sick.
Do all, you know, but my point is, it's just like the irony of like the nerve of these people. Like, oh, okay, and now you. So, but again, it's. And some of the titles were shocking, you know, because they publish their like top 20 search sites or whatever, and Fight the New Drug was one of the big, because remember I told you like they don't like Visa and MasterCard won't work with them anymore. I attribute a lot of that to Fight the New Drug, because they're ubiquitous. They're all over the place, those people. But so they were saying that they would publish like the top 10, 15, whatever things, but I guess they're not publishing it this year because of all the backlash that happened. You remember when
There's top 10 what?
So they most searched, whatever.
They don't want their top 10 out there.
So this year they haven't published it. Remember when girl on Twitter, and she was in porn, and then she said something against abortion, and all those people said all that crazy shit about her, and I was like, yo,
yeah,
Jenna
I
Jameson.
was gonna say Jenna.
Yeah. I'm trying to secure an interview with her. That would be on Middle America. That's gonna be an epic interview if we ever get that. But she was, remember she had posted that thing about like all the comments that they left under that little girl's the girl that had been kidnapped or whatever. And she's like, you know, it was during the whole Epstein situation,
yes.
And she was like, basically like, you guys are completely hypocritical. You're judging Epstein. Here are the comments under this thing on this publicly viewed website, and so that and a couple other things. So then Visa and MasterCard were like, yo, we're out, you know, which is really it's like Deutsche Bank saying we're out with Trump. Or like Twitter saying they're out with Trump. Trump hasn't said anything differently. Like
right, no,
they took all that traffic he generated for the billions of clicks of traffic, and then at the end of them they're trying to make it look immoral.
Oh, they realized. We just realized this. We had no idea this was going on.
But my point is,
let me just clear my history to here.
My point is that you. It's just like anything. Like I remember one time they didn't know any different, but my ex, like her mom, like for a wedding gift gave us this like porn from like the 70s, and it was like, hey, and I'm the guy was like the mechanic or something like that, and it was just like, and I just remember being like, this is weird, but at the same time it's like, that's just basic stuff. Now. They were showing the Fight the New Drug was showing the thing, the top 10 from the previous years, and then we watched that. What was that? It was the Hot Girls Wanted one with those poor girls from when and again, they're not poor girls in the sense of like they could fend for themselves, but you guys know what I'm saying. And they were talking about how they had to do all this crazy stuff, get punched in the face and all this like. And so, like, it starts off with, like, the stuff from the 70s, which is just, like, this kind of harmless, silly, like, hey, it's a mechanic, and then hey, you've got bulging muscles, hey. It went from that to, and then you get a society of people, and it's not just dudes anymore. You get a society of people who are just feasting on that over and over and over and over again. It's going to eventually say, well, that's whack, let's go to something else, and then you get this... You devolve to this point now where, as a society, what Epstein did was wrong. But at the same time, you love this barely legal stuff. Which is okay, they're technically 18 years old, but you're specifically making them look a certain way. And so there's this whole cognitive dissonance happening in our society in real time, and people don't get it. And it's like, people want to believe that a guy like Epstein is just like a particularly horrible guy. And it's like, no, a guy like Epstein is a guy who has sexual proclivities, and he's massively rich. And being a massively rich, and yes, white person, makes it so you get to dodge levels of accountability. And so it's like, Epstein is a case study in what happens when you are massively rich with no accountability. How deep down that rabbit hole are you going to end up going to, right? And so the reason that people were judging Epstein, but then at the same time watching the porn that is meant to present the exact same situation, is because their reach as far as being able to be a powerful person that can indulge in that stuff without consequences is obviously limited because they're not multi-billionaires like Epstein was. So the next best thing was for them to do it virtually. But you're literally the same person. But try telling somebody that. Try saying you're the same person.
Yeah.
And what's fascinating to me is that, you know, we talked about this before, about like judgment and how we judge each other. And like, especially in our community, most people are like, yeah, like, let's not judge each other, blah, blah, blah. But like a guy like Epstein, we're like, oh my God, he's an absolute monster. He's a different species of human being. But then they go and do the exact same thing.
Yeah.
And a lot of these guys...
Yeah, in your heart you wanted it too.
Correct. So,
Ooh, that makes me sick.
I think the song is like I said, man, I feel like I've heard this song before. But I think it's a way for us to relate because we've all kind of been in that situation where like we think if we had that one thing then we would be happy and then we get it and we can't get happy. But I also think it's a warning because you do have to answer that question for yourself. What is it? And it is what is going to give you ultimate and complete satisfaction to where you can put the thing that whatever it is, like you don't need to make the extra dollar. You know, I you know, we have these conversations because you're very worried about like, you know, the sexual integrity stuff and making sure that, you know, the kids have healthy, you know, marriages and things like that, which I think is very, very important. But I look at a guy like Dorian and I'm like, man, this money thing, man, is a thing for him. You know, and I think that he thinks that thing can solve a lot of human problems that it cannot solve. But try telling a 15-year-old that. And like that's one of the things that I really, 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 really worry about because the problem is that he's gonna be in a situation where he's almost gonna have an unlimited supply, just like these guys. And these guys are pretty self-aware. They figured it out pretty quickly. I mean, because they still look, they're younger than we are now, right? Like, he figured it out pretty quickly. Like, okay, I'm a rock star. I'm in a band. I'm popular. I got these weird clothes. It's 1990. But you can't have everything that you want, even being in the position that I'm in. And I think that is a hell of a lot of self-awareness to be able to put that together at such a young age in the context that those guys are in.
Oh, I agree. But at the same time, it's like, well, wait, how did you figure it out so young?
Yeah.
What the hell did you get yourself into? Because, like, a lot of times you don't know that until you experience it. You know, there's just some things that you can tell the kids, but you gotta wait for them to experience it. Like
100%.
You know, like I sent Johan to make some popcorn. You know, he's 12. You can't tell him anything. So he goes down there. He has it. You know, the bag says this side up for a reason. He doesn't put this side up. He doesn't check to see the ounces to hit the right button to make sure that the popcorn pops long enough. And he had all of his specifications. He stacked 2 bags on top of each other in the microwave. You know, there's like so many things. Now after he popped 2 bags, crappily, then I went down there with him. And I'm like, okay.
Is that a word? Crappily?
I just made one. I said, okay, put the popcorn. I was like, let me explain this to you. He goes, I know, I already know. And he stuck it in and he shut the door. I said, you already did it wrong. And then he was like, what? I'm like, take the bag out. He was like, he's like, well, I haven't even started. I'm like, exactly, but what you already did was already wrong. And he took it out and I'm like, I flipped it over. I'm like, it literally says this side up. You know what I mean? Like, but he had to have like 2 bad bags of popcorn before.
Correct. 100%.
Then when he did it properly,
100%.
He was like, Mom, there's like no kernels left in the bottom of this bag.
You don't say.
You can pop and have a full bag.
You don't say.
You know? So it just makes me think like, yeah, these kids are really young.
And I'm not sure that they completely figured it out, but I think they were on the trail with the what's it line is probably one of the most insightful and deepest lines I have ever heard, and I am certain if I talked to those guys, they'd say, we just had it as a throwaway line. But I really don't think it's that. I think it's one of the most...
I think it's a 7 mixed with, it's like satisfaction.
Clearest, one of the best lines as far as mapping the human experience thing that all of us are kind of like blindly trying to
once
find
it's it. Yeah, it's
it.
actually a really good
It's just...
phrase.
The deepest line ever. And I'm not sure that anybody's going to be able to do something like that with that short. It's one of the things that impresses me about Jesus is like he was able to say so much in so little. Who's gonna stone this girl? Okay, whoever's without sin, you cast the first stone. Like, what? That's a 15-hour conversation to save that girl.
If you don't stop to think about it, though, you can miss the complexity of
or
wow, this guy never answers the question.
or render to Caesar what is Caesar's and to God's what is God. That is a deep line. Very just one line. Poof.
Right.
And like he would and it said
Whose
like
image is on that coin?
right. And it would say like they didn't want any parts of him after.
Yeah.
Like because like you get a guy that people think that I'm intelligent. I read a lot. An intelligent person can say all like Jesus. It would be like a 5-minute reaction video, and everything that I just talked about, rambled about for the last 40 minutes, he'd be able to say in one sentence. That's that line right there. What is it? It's it. And if you really sit and think about it, that's probably one of the deepest lines of all time ever. Unbelievable.
I agree.
It's getting a 10.5 just for that. Just for that line.
Okay.
And I like the
sound-wise, it's a 3 for me. I did not like it at all.
Stuck for a lot. Stuck for a lot.
I agree with you on that line. I would bump it all the way up to a 10. So I think I'm gonna go with a 9.1 for the song because I feel like that's where it has to be. But you have to know that
really
sound-wise, it's a 3 for me.
It's a really good song. Really good song. And there's this guy, Mike Borden was the drummer for Korn for a little while. The drummer with the dreads.
Oh, okay.
He was drumming for Korn for a little while because David hurt his hand.
Mm-hmm.
Only real Korn kids know that. Gang, gang. Vin out.
Sori out.
Gone.